All right, we got my dog came through. Appreciate you. Kevin Smith,
Yes,
Smitty
sir.
Buck, you feel me? Dade County legend in this bitch. Coach at LSU right now. Big congratulations. That's a big job. One of the top dogs in the country. You know, close personal friend of mine for like 20 years. I appreciate him coming through, dropping a little knowledge on y'all real quick. We got keeping it raw the first time ever. You feel me? So we got to make this shit legendary.
Let's
you know
go. Let's go.
You feel me? If y'all don't know, UCF, was it 2007?
I started in 2005. I left after the 2007
But
season.
that 2007 season was that season.
Yeah, it was legendary.
2,500 yards, leading the nation, rushing. Never been done before. This close to Barry Sanders, the Barry Sanders, like this fucking close. I remember that, like Texas. You guys played Texas that year, NC
did.
State. You guys bowl game, all that shit. That shit really like put UCF on the map. So, you know what I mean? Tell us a little bit about that 2007 season, 2,500 yards that nobody knows about. Like what?
It was just a great time, man. It was, you know, now you look back at it at the age that I'm at, and you don't really realize what you did, but. I think a lot of times, man, when you put things in perspective, it was just, we was in the moment. I believe that was the first 10-win season in school history. That might not be a fact, but I think that's true.
Yeah, because at the time, UCF was still...
Yeah,
like
I mean, Pep came through, Asante came through, Travis Fisher came through. So we had a lot of great players individually come through. But I think from a team standpoint, that was the first time we put it together. We won the conference, and so it was a good time. We ended up beating
coach?
Tulsa.
You guys had a real coach.
Yeah, we had George O'Leary. We had like
a
a real dog.
Before, right?
He was at Georgia Tech. He had the little thing with Notre Dame, but legendary coach, had a lot of great players. A lot of draft picks out of UCF is you know, he's responsible for. So to this day, I still talk to him. He's a mentor for me, father figure for me.
Oh, you still talk to him?
Oh yeah. And we're like polar opposites.
Yeah,
like, I'm from down
you
south
need that,
Miami.
Though.
He's from
like Allen Iverson, Larry Brown.
He's
type
like
shit.
an Irish man.
Yeah.
So, but he like, and you don't really realize till like you get older how good he was for you. You know what I'm saying? Because he ran a tight ship. He is. If you think of Nick Saban, he was Nick Saban before
Structure,
Nick Saban.
accountability.
Probably,
you know what I mean?
Probably even worse from a a demeanor standpoint. But especially I think for kids like myself and coming from where we come from, that's what you want. That's what you need.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
sure,
I'm saying? You give us some structure, we're gonna flourish.
Facts. That's what we be trying to. You know what I mean? Like this, you might be able to get by doing it the other way or your way for a little bit, but for it to last and be for it, you got to do it. Discipline, the Saban way, the O'Leary way. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to. That's what we be trying to teach these kids down here now. But with the Instagram, instant gratification, the NIL, it's like. It's hard to get them to see that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's challenging.
And you being a coach now, you know what I mean? I'm sure
it's challenging.
It's like, damn, if I could just get and tell you, it's almost like you have the secret, you know what I mean? You want to tell like, bro, I've been where you at, I know what you're doing, da-da-da-da.
Yeah, and I think for me, personality-wise, I still think, I can bridge the gap between this generation and, kind of where I came from. So it's not as hard, but it is a lot of challenges, social media, NIL, there's a lot of things, a lot of distractions, but
different game from when you were
it's a different game, but you adjust with the times and you roll. I love college football. How much you think
that NIL check would have been for you after, you feel me?
I always go through it, man. It just depends on where the market was. If it was in this market today, it would have been the most. I can tell you that much. I don't know how much, but I would have had an agent who better had got the most.
Yeah, that was a legendary. See, I remember watching that shit. We went to a draft party. It was like every week it was just like 80-yard touchdown, 60-yard touchdown. It was just like crazy.
It was good.
Crazy. So you've known me for 20 years. So real quick, let the people know from then till now, like any differences you see, like notice from back then to who now, because a lot of people don't know me from back then. You know what I mean?
One of the original hustlers. I always tell people they don't really know this story, but back in the day, obviously when I was in the league and we were partying, we were hanging, you were a non-athlete who were splitting tables with me at Live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We go bust out a $15,000 table.
Don't gotta have somebody fit
Hey, we go bust. So you was getting to the money, you was doing your thing, and I think, from the outside looking in and knowing you so long and having a lot of respect for you and considering you a close friend, just your journey, I think for you and everybody, adversity really hit you, and then you had to make a decision. You could have folded, based on your story and what you went through, you could have ended up like a lot of other people who never really recover. I've been through something very similar in a different way. But I think you learn a lot of lessons on the downfall. And then when you rise again, it makes it that much sweeter. And for you, the gym, your brand, everything you have going on, for sure, I'm always someone that's proud, someone, you're someone that I look up to just from a business standpoint and a hustler's mentality.
I appreciate
you know what I'm
it, 'cause
saying?
you've always been
you gotta have that,
Yeah, you always been a role model to us, you know what I mean? Like, you one of the only dudes who can get through the dawn, you know what I mean? And for me, it was always like, I just always appreciated you letting me come hang out, you know what I mean? Because I was the new dude back then, and, you was really starting to get on at that point,
Yeah.
the draft party and the
Yeah.
you just always treated me like family at your mom's house, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
always included us, so I just appreciate that, and that was mad love. So,
Oh, yeah.
and that night at Live was mad fun.
Yeah, it was
Remember
fun.
Artis?
Yeah,
When he
yeah,
was passed
yeah,
out?
yeah, yeah.
The bouncer at the club, my boy Artis, was asleep in the back, and I'm like, yo,
In the
put him in
alley.
the cab for me. Yeah. He was getting love.
We
though.
found him. We got him home.
sure.
Yeah, we
Good
found
time.
him. We got him home.
All right, so before the draft, what was the work like? You know what I mean? Like, what was the daily structure like at UCF when you was getting ready, going into that season?
It came to a point. I was real undecided. In my heart, I really wanted to go back to school, probably from a discipline standpoint, maturity standpoint. I probably should have. From a body of work standpoint, probably was smart for me to leave when I left.
You got a lot of carries that year. too.
Yeah,
That's a lot of wear and tear.
and back then the wear and tear, still even to this day, it counts against you. But I ended up coming to South Florida. I ended up training. And it was just, I remember kind of going around looking at different facilities. I remember going to Bommarito with Pete and seeing like Matt Forte and seeing guys already not kind of in the work. And I was just like, it was just natural. Like it's structure. It's no different than what you do when you're in college. You have your strength and conditioning program. They tell you what time to show up, what weights to lift, what to do. So it's the same thing, when you're transitioning from college to the pros. When you get with a trainer, they got everything formatted for you. And
So
you
get
just
with a
follow
trainer and
structure.
consistency.
Yeah, consistency,
Structure,
showing up. Now, the one
consistency.
thing I did do was, I had a lot of habits that I had to make better. One of them was the diet. And I stuck to it. I remember being with some
Diet's
other
huge.
players that
Huge. It's fuel.
before we got the facility, like they stopped by McDonald's. And
Crazy.
in my mind, it was like every single thing I can do, I needed to gain a little bit of weight. I think they wanted me to go from like 211 to 217, which was probably a mistake.
Yeah.
But at the advice of my agent at the time, I probably should have stayed at 211, probably would have ran faster, felt a little better. But it was just, it was structure. It was good. It's work. I was always a worker. It's the only way I got where I got at. I was a worker, dude.
Facts.
Physically gifted, naturally gifted. God then blessed me with that. So I had to hustle. I had to grind. I had to believe. I had to stay down until I came up.
So let's talk about then, because you being from Miami, you know what I mean? At Southridge at the time when a lot of dudes were going to different schools and stuff like that, I know you were recruited by bigger schools at safety, right?
No, not really. I had one offer, I believe, to Western Michigan at safety. I had one, maybe, I think, at Eastern Michigan, but the only offer I had at running back was UCF. So I was one of those, rightfully so, in Dade County in the early 2000s, monsters.
Loaded. That's why I was trying to pull up the class from that year.
If you were a talented player, but not like a superstar, not physically elite, you kind of just,
Yeah, you had dudes like
kinda
Antoine
just
Smith
fell in.
that year.
Oh, yeah.
Darren McFadden, Jamal Charles.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, but then you were the top, you know what I mean?
I actually went to a UM camp. It's a funny story. I went to a UM camp. I was always weak in high school, not a weight guy. And I remember, like, my best friend, Tony, I remember, like, dude, that back then you had to test with 185 pounds, see how many times you could rep it out. Well, I was like, dude, I can only do it one time. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe the camp was 2 weeks out. I can't remember. I'm going to get on creatine so I could bust it down. So sure enough, I go to the UN
Might have
camp.
needed some love.
I probably get it 9 times. 9.
You got some long arms, too. You
And then I go out. So I did that, which Tone probably did it 20 anyway. Then I go out there and I run a 40 next to Anton. And I think me and Anton played a year together in Detroit. But I run the 40. We run the 40 together next to each other. He runs a 4.3.
Yeah, he was rolling.
I run a 4.9. UM never sends me a piece of mail ever again.
And he ain't really, you know what I mean?
Oh, no, he was a baller.
He
No,
balled,
went
but I'm
to
saying when he
Florida
gets to the
State,
league, you know,
yeah, he
I remember
was
his highlight tape though. He was like all world, all, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I think rightfully so, but he was a ball. It was just funny that we ran next to each other.
Yeah.
He was blazing,
He was
so you can
rolling,
imagine
chasing
how
those
far
rabbits.
behind
Remember we
I
were talking about
was.
this morning, chasing the rabbits.
Yeah,
bro.
you can imagine how
That's that
far
work.
behind I was.
You know what I mean?
But
Yeah.
It was all good. Worked out for both of us.
Facts. That was a crazy class, that running back class. Another one of those dudes was a CJ2K, Chris Johnson, recently with like the ALS diagnosis and stuff. I know that hit you pretty hard. I remember around that time, he being from Orlando, you being at UCF, you guys used to have that competition, like who's the king of Orlando, you know what I mean? That healthy, like competitive, you guys came out in the same draft. It was a lot of just healthy competition in your guys' careers, you know, always kind of got looked at. And I don't know if you have a personal relationship with him or not, but how did that affect you and hearing that and just being against him for so long?
Yeah, no, that's my dude. He's actually a year older. When I came out, I was a junior. He was a senior. Orlando's his city, so and he's definitely, you know, a Hall of Fame player. My career never came close to him, but in college, we did have a lot of battles. We played East Carolina. I want to say 06 at East Carolina. I don't know if we ever beat him in college, but I seen dude go for 500 yards total by himself. Punt return, kick return, rushing, receiving yard. So when we came out, we were really close. You know, at the combine, we kind of like, you know, we were like Conference USA players.
Yeah.
2008 was the Matt Forte. 2008, in my humble opinion, was the deepest running back class in NFL history. By the number of first round, second round, and third round picks.
McFadden was in that draft too,
McFadden,
right?
Felix Jones.
Oh, yeah. Like 4 or 5 went in the first round, right?
Oh, yeah. Rashad Mendenhall, Stewart from Oregon. It was Jonathan Stewart. It was all these dudes, you know, and monsters, and end up, you know, going to the league, having great rookie season, having great careers. So we kind of just kept to ourselves. I remember CJ running his 40, and if my memory serves correct,
4.24.
Yeah, and he ran it, and he wasn't really even sure if he would still go first round, but it was so impactful, that speed and his skill set. Like when you watch his tape, it wasn't like he was like a little speed back. CJ had feet. He'll drop that shoulder.
Catch the ball.
He was a monster. I also, like, one of my close buddies was Ray Rice at the time. I remember Ray ran the 40. He ran a good 40 times. He's like, I ain't running no more.
Yeah, he was like a little bowling ball.
But yeah, you know, with CJ, it actually hit me real hard. I was on vacation not too long ago with my family, and Tone, he was like, you heard what happened to CJ? And we have really close friends in the same circle. And I was like, nah. So I saw it. I ended up calling my buddies who's from Orlando. And I was like, dude, I just talked to you. Why you didn't tell me? Like, you know, and he was like, it just was something that, you know, he didn't want to get out until, you know, he did a thing. So my heart is with him. It changed my life. It gave me a lot of perspective.
I can tell,
you know,
bro, when you've been down
it gave me some perspective on just being healthy. You never know he was healthy. And really, you know, cherishing the moments and giving your all with your kids and my wife, and just really appreciating that a lot more than I have. It's very easy for us. We got 7 kids. You know, I've been married 11 years. It's very easy to just be a parent and just be there and not really cherish the moments. And now a little bit easier said than done. I got to, you know, coach in college. I work a lot of hours. You know, I feel like I work 365 days a year. And so a lot of times it's easy to come home and just get on the sofa. It's easy to kiss the kids, ask them how their day was, and not really engage with them. And really, you know, I get a lot of my parenting and advice from my head coach, my boss, and really it's just like having conversations with the kids outside of just, hey, how was school? Like, how
in
were
that
you
effort,
feeling?
going that extra effort, not going through the motions.
So that
really
just
care.
that kind of with Chris, because I saw him with his daughter. Know he has the twin boys, and so him not being able to do that right now really kind of gave me some perspective on how much I better take advantage of the time that God gives us.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
That's just really comes in that situation with, things like that make you really, like you said,
you got to buckle down. Yeah, you got to buckle down, and you got to be very, very, very grateful. You have to have so much gratitude when God, lets you be vertical and puts air in your lungs.
Especially a dude like that who was the fastest thing on the planet, and then now you can't
just
move.
Healthy and like normal. There's nothing you can do about it.
So you say you've been married 11 years?
11 years.
That's rare this day and age. It's rare.
Oh, yeah.
What's the secret of staying married 11 years?
I don't have social media.
Facts.
No, it ain't. No, I don't have social media. You know what it is, and our anniversary was just on the 14th of July. That made 11 years. It's really we got a family group chat. We have 2 adult kids, and then we got 5, 16 and under. And it was just like I shot them a text in a group chat like everybody played a part. Marriage is hard, having 5 kids in the house. That's basically what we've had through 11 years. We, 4 or 5, and, we kept having kids, and, that's very, very challenging. And then you have, 2 human beings. We're all human. We're all different. We grow. We're not the same person this year than we were last year, and you got to do it together, and you got to make a commitment. And, I think for sure, a lot of the credit goes to my wife. She could have gave up on me a long time ago. I've been through a lot. I've done a lot that I'm not proud of. I've learned, I've grown, but also just the commitment from the kids and everybody just staying together. It takes a village. It takes a village to raise kids. It takes a village to hold down a marriage. So it's really the family's responsible for it, and we all love each other, and, it's God's blessing.
It's real, dog. You sound like a real adult out here. You know what I mean? Somebody who
I think
been
I
through
am.
it.
I think I'm trying to be an adult. Yeah.
You feel me?
Sometimes I don't want to be. Sometimes
Right,
I don't want to be no adult. But
it's tough out here.
you got to do what you got to do.
But that's what we need. You know what I mean? And these kids need people like you. You know what I mean? People that have done the league and been different type of lifestyles and be like, this is where it's at. You know what I mean? Like, I've been over there. I've done all this shit. But like, at the end of the day, this is what matters. This is what really is gonna make you feel good at the end of the day. Like, this is what our purpose is here as men, to like build a family, raise the kids, and like show them the right way. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And you know what? As much as I may give advice at times in that perspective, I also give grace and know that everybody has to run their own race, and you don't skip certain steps. So I never get to where I'm at or feel like I even need a wife or want a big family, anything, that if we don't kind of live the life that we live when we're afterwards hanging out. And it's just, now to each his own. I don't judge anybody, but how long you gonna do it?
Facts.
I can't tell you the last time
Facts.
I was in the club. I would go to the club and feel so awkward.
Well,
I go out with my wife. I love to still dance. I like to go out and have, listen to music, and so I vibe. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, I'm damn near 40. What? There's more to life. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And for me, it's at
you
this
get
point,
out your
it's
system,
pouring
like
into
you
people.
said.
Yeah. Now you pouring into people for a living. You pouring into people at home who you help create. And so,
it's also, I feel like it's hard to tell somebody not to do that when you've never done it, because they'll be like, well, you don't know what you're missing. You never done it. When you've done it, and it's like, I know what it like, but this is better than that.
And there's some people, there's some people that's just like, hey, I'm good. I was just talking to my homeboy, my barber, and I was like, bro, you need to lock in here. Like, bro, I'm good. Don't start like trying to put out. Like, okay,
they got to be ready. The student,
respect.
When the student ready, the master appears. You know what I mean? If they not ready, ain't nothing you can do.
You got to do you. To each his own.
So also being from down south too, like we were talking to Don earlier, you had a lot of friends, a lot of people that probably should have made it, like a lot of talented dudes out there, and we've seen a lot of people go to prison for different things and such. Like, what do you think separated guys like you, guys like Tone, guys like Don, from the dudes who didn't make it out of that situation?
I think there's a lot of factors. I just know for myself, I can't speak for. I could probably speak for Don, just because, I was right with him when he was road running. I think that, you tiptoe that line. My mom was a teacher, so, and, partly, you know, my dad was around, not very strong. I was a mama's boy, but I ran the streets. You know what I'm saying? So, in a good way, a combination of kind of seeing things and, you know, playing the tape. Like, all right, dog, I've never been the type like I'm not interested in jail. Like, so I'm not gonna go steal a car. But my homeboys, like, I still love who I love. I still hang with who I hang with. But when it's time to go on a mission, it really don't say, I don't care what you say about me, I'm gonna fall back.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna do some more other immature things that maybe could have cost me some of my time, but, you know, God had plans for me. Yeah,
like,
you
it's
know what
gotta
I'm
be
saying?
worth it. Like, I'm not just gonna crash out for
Yeah,
no reason.
and then, you know, you kind of see, you learn, and I just think a lot of it is just blessed. I think that, you know, God's in control. He kind of controls the story. So whatever he had for me at the time, that's what it was. I think, but the one thing that I always say, and I feel like it was, there's a lot of players from where we from that should have been in NFL.
Facts.
And SAT and ACT changed their life.
I remember the
A
university
test
school.
score stopped them from being able to go to college, knowing that if you get to college, college is easier than high school. You have way more resources, way more structure. You have independent you don't have that in high school. In high school, you don't have a learning specialist. You don't
Especially
have a
down
tutor
here,
for even.
especially in Dade County.
Yeah, especially but just and maybe they have them at, you know, maybe they have them at certain private schools, but it's
That's what
built
helped Dawn
into
a
your
lot, you know what I
college
mean? Us and
schedule.
being in that shit.
You go to class, you got to go check. You have to go to tutoring.
Yeah.
You have to go to study hall. We didn't have study hall in high school. So college is built for you to be successful. They've always said, if you fail college, you didn't try.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Professors allow you to make up grades, and that doesn't happen in high school. So in my opinion, I always said it like, bro, the amount of careers that were ruined all based on a test score,
Yep. We were just
it's
talking
crazy.
about the Bobby thing. You know what I mean?
Impactful. Like, I don't know outside of Adrian Peterson if I ever seen a running back as talented as Bobby Washington. I'm talking
Shout
about
out Bobby. Bobby
shout
Washington.
out Bobby.
Killian,
Like a
Dade County
a
all-time leading
pure
rusher.
runner.
Yeah.
But a lot of them. I just was
Antoine
on
Easterling
FaceTime.
before him? No,
with
that was from the West.
Caleb Harris.
Yeah.
Like monsters down south from
Dayline.
Homestead, Florida City, all the way to Coconut Grove. My idol growing up and one of my good buddies, Frank Gore. I watched Frank Gore
Legend. Hall of
have
Fame.
15 yards at halftime and finish the game with 300 yards versus the number 4 or 5 defense in the country. Just monsters. And obviously Frank made it, had a Hall of Fame career and all that, but there's a lot of backs from down south, a lot of football players from down south that didn't make it for a lot of reasons, but test scores alone kept a lot of people back. And as we know, once you didn't go to college, the streets got a hold of a lot of people.
Especially football. When you leave
Oh,
football,
yeah.
it's
And when you down south and you don't see no different.
nothing.
College is an opportunity for you to see something different, get a different perspective, meet new people.
Seeing is believing. You
and
gotta
seeing like,
see.
hey, you know what? It's more than just riding from Richmond Heights to Ghouls, the Piranha. That's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
We just went to the jam. We slid. We went from this neighborhood to this neighborhood. They messed with this chick, and that was life, and that's all we know until you travel, until you meet new people, until you meet new friends. Who knows? Whether you went to the league or not, you could have been one of the best players in Dade County, end up going to the school, and one of your best friends could have been a dude who came up with Facebook.
Yeah.
It's just
He went to
opportunity.
the dude who was with him, the dude
Right,
Alfredo,
just
went
opportunity,
together.
just networking.
Facts.
You lose the ability to network for a lot of us when you don't make it in sports. And I think a lot of it is just the culture, where we come from. Back then, nowadays, it's a totally different ball game. There's so many resources. There's so many things you can be in life.
Yeah, they invested in these kids early too. They want to make sure
this generation with this internet and this streaming and you can do whatever you want to do. So no excuses.
Limitless.
Yeah, no
endless,
excuses.
endless,
We
endless.
had excuses back in the day. No excuses.
But you mentioned God too, though. So you always been heavy into God and religion, or is this something newer in
Yeah, no, I've always been to church. I think it's one of those things that, when you're young, your mama, your grandma, whoever, you going to church every Sunday. And then here you go off to college, and now you get to make decisions and you get to make choices on your own. And for me, that's probably when church stopped, and it's not that it had to, but I just kind of got away from it. And then I had a lot of ups and downs in my career, that it's only God that made it possible for me to be where I'm at. So I think with more understanding, and then at the end of the day, my wife got baptized not too long ago, and I was telling my boss, like, I felt left behind. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard with a lot of my choices, a lot of my habits. I felt left behind in the sense to where, like, I went to a service one day in Baton Rouge, and a preacher who normally I don't sit in those type of sermons. He's a younger fella, and he just said some things that really hit home. And when he was preaching, he was talking about how immature you are in your prayer life and how immature you are as a man. I felt like he was speaking right to me. And he basically, I want to save my soul. You know what I'm saying? So not that I'm the perfect Christian and all that, but as an athlete and, my life, I put a lot of time into being good at football and being great as a player. Is my mission to put the same amount of time into being great in God's walk and being able to really transition and, pass that down to my kids. Because at the end of the day, everybody chooses to believe in what they want to believe in. I'm not the type to push anything on anybody, but as I learn, and I'm still learning, there's a lot I don't know. As I learn, if you're somebody in my circle, just like no different than when we work out. I got someone when I was out of shape and let myself go who send me videos and, hey, get it in. I do the same thing now and do the same thing when it comes to believing in God and believing in the message and just, trying to help people be in the right space with their faith,
So when we were talking about the difference between some of those guys who didn't make it and made it, and you mentioned like you kind of tiptoed that line, do you feel like that relationship with God kind of kept you from going too far over that line?
I think that, and I think I had a praying mama and a praying grandma, and I had a praying family. It had to be prayer,
Yeah,
and even if I wasn't praying, they was praying for me because that's the only way I could have made it to where I made it. It had to be blessed, and really tiptoeing that line. I feel like with my mom, I had a hedge of protection always around me because, and I was telling Don, well, we lost a lot of people. South Ridge, my high school has their reunion today. And, I don't have Facebook and all that, but it's always interesting to me, like, where people are in their lives, not from a judgment standpoint. I don't judge anybody, but it's just always like,
they made
and I'm always happy when I see dudes doing good and people doing good. I'm all that.
Facts. You want to see people
it
doing
has
well.
zero to do with money. Has everything to do with, like, because now my classmates, their children are the ones that I'm recruiting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's always like, damn, we were in class
Have you recruited
together.
any of your friends' kids yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But it's always like, yeah, that's awesome. And you raised an awesome young man. Like, you did a phenomenal job at raising this dude. And so, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, again, it's just, to me, a lot of that has to do with me having a praying mom and a family who loved me to where when it was time to make certain decisions in order for me to be here, I obviously didn't make the wrong ones.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing. Lately, like, I've been kind of like going through my midlife crisis type thing, and I've noticed I try and look around and look at everybody else's life, and I'm like, what's the common denominator in every single person's life that I kind of admire or wouldn't mind trading places with? And I'm just like, they all got a real good relationship with God. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, well, let me give this a try now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's, we've been getting to it a little bit. And then, so football didn't, go exactly as planned. So what did you learn from losing football that you could have never learned from being in football?
Man, I always say that once football is over, every single person who's played the game, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, a month, in my case, 2 years, you don't know who you are. At least I'm speaking for my generation when
It's your identity.
yeah, and
Spend your whole life.
when football back then, if you did anything outside of football, in 2008 when I was in the NFL, 2009 when I was in the NFL, 2010 all the way to 2012, you weren't a football player and a podcaster.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
it
was
was no
frowned
side
upon.
job. Yeah.
Like it was almost like the owners would feel like you were distracted.
Facts, 100%.
Now,
like Tim Tebow,
which is awesome. Like they're supported. So my point is, for myself, and I know there's a lot of players that are like me. You go from high school to college to the pros, not by choice. You do nothing in between. You're just a football player. Like you've done no internships. You've had no job.
You don't have another interest. You don't have time for another. You don't know what you like.
But you just like football.
Exactly.
Right? And you've put nothing in it. You have no plan B, and then it's over. And for a lot of people, a lot faster than what you expect. If you would have told me I would have played 5 years, I would have told you crazy. Because if you cut on a tape, I could run with the best of them.
Facts.
They did
2,500 yards, though. That shit don't.
And then, it's very hard to do that. Started as a rookie, very shy of 1,000 yards. I got hurt I tore my ACL at the end of my second year. And that's kind of when my career went down. Yeah, at the time. Yeah. Shout out to the Lions, though. Love him now. Dan Campbell, my ex-teammate who's the head coach.
Oh, he's your team? Campbell?
Yeah, he was my teammate, yeah. So,
love that guy.
Yep, love them. But, yeah, I think that, it was, at that time, it was very, very difficult to do something different. So when football was over, I didn't make financially smart decisions. So money gone, career over, no degree, what do you do? And I'm just sitting there and you dibble and dabble in a couple things, but it's not gonna match the lifestyle that you used to. So you sit back and you think more and you think more and you think more. And I keep going back to like, only God could have pulled, this favor out of me. And it was the first thing I did was my Coach O'Leary was like, you need to come back and get your degree.
So you hollered at Coach O'Leary?
Yeah, and he was like, come back and get your, I went from
So that mentor is super important. Having that dude you can go to.
And he changed my life because I could have been like a lot of people and just, well, that's over. I'm not going back to get my degree. I would never dream of being a coach. Like coaching wasn't like cool to me. So it wasn't, I don't have like a dad that was a coach. Like, hey, I'm finna draw these plays.
I never really saw that side of you. I didn't expect this. You know what I'm saying?
No. I fell into coaching, dude, and realized that was my real purpose. And my real purpose was to only play that amount of years, go through that adversity, fall very far, hit my face on the floor, learn everything, humble myself, be grateful for everything, have no money, not call anybody, nobody call me, get off of social media. And I really just got off of social media because I would like look at players that I knew I was better than, and I would just look at them with their big old houses.
Eats you up,
and
dog.
I mean, ate me up. And I'm in like a 2-bedroom apartment. I can't afford much.
Yeah, we talked about the other day.
And so I just like, I don't want to see none of it.
Yeah, that's how
I was like,
feeling, bro.
I'm done.
I got to get off this shit because I'm feeling the same way.
I'm done with all this. And it was just, okay, focus on you. You got to go back to school, homie. And you got to sit in class. Like imagine the most.
You had a real like sit down. Like I gotta really.
Yeah,
change
I'm the most.
I'm gonna do this.
I'm the most decorated player in UCF history, I'm in class, and nobody knows you now. You ain't playing like they could care less. Ain't no 24K.
Reality check.
Turning your test, Kevin Smith. And this is the crazy. I had no money. I had to go work at the ticket office. You talking about humble, bro? I just came from like everywhere I go, I valet. Yeah. If I get a scratch, I had a range that was wrapped, and it was so obnoxious. I would get a scratch on my car and call the dude because I needed to get it fixed right then. Like I wouldn't change tires. I just completely a slap, and went from that to turning your test, and now you at the ticket office, and now like I'm like, hey, would you like to renew your season ticket? Hold on, this Kevin Smith.
We doing special days.
And I get my first check, and it's $48. What am I gonna do with this? I need some gas. I'm gonna cash it.
Now that value of a dollar, you know what I'm saying?
And so
That value of a
I
dollar.
learned a lot, but it most def was to be where I'm at now. This is definitely my calling, and what a better time to impact players when they're in the same situation. Because I'm just telling you, you don't know no better. You come from nothing, you get that check, you playing ball, seem like it's gonna last forever. Maybe you'll listen, maybe you won't, but I'm not ashamed to share my story, and hopefully if it changes one decision, or a lot of times it's like, okay, well, and I got this from a player and it made sense. And he said, and I won't say a name, but elite player at LSU, be a top 10 pick next year. And he basically made it make sense. He was like, when you get the bread, you gonna splurge. Like, it's just a natural instinct. But he was like, how fast can you will yourself back in? And I was like, damn, you right. That's what it is. You can't be like, oh, you come from that, you ain't got no bread, you got no money. Hey, save. Don't buy all these expensive cars. Don't buy no drink. It sounds good. And even when I say it, I think it sounds good. And it's like, dude, you did the exact opposite. Yeah. You went broke. You had nothing.
You know now because
but you know
went
now.
through it.
But you exact. But how fast can you will yourself back in? I think is the key to getting yourself back on track, because there's some steps you can't skip.
I think that's like having a good team around you too. People tell you like, "Hey man, just do what you want."
That does help.
If it was the yes man and stuff and all that, especially with this NIL shit.
But then you're still in position. I think I had a fairly decent team. I didn't know what I didn't know then. But then you don't listen to nobody.
Facts.
Yeah. Hey, nah, dog.
But I think it's a lot easier to reel it in, like you said. Like if you have a lot of people telling you, like, bro, you tripping, you start to lose. Like, damn, why they treat me? Yeah. But if everybody just telling you, keep going, bro, you got it, then you might never come back. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Like we said, when you're ready to listen, you listen. The master will appear. I don't want to keep you too long, but LSU this year, you know what I mean? First year. Yeah. What's the plan? What we doing? You know, we always gonna rep that. But my dad went to LSU. I am a LSU fan. You know, we can't never go against the crib, but we definitely rooting for y'all this year. Yeah. I was so proud of watching you come from FAU. I didn't even know about a lot of the rock bottom stuff, the ticket stuff. That motivates the hell out of me and shit. Sure. But yeah, man, LSU, what's up? What we got this year?
Man, we working. There's no place like it. Obviously I've had an amazing coaching journey. FAU, the Ole Miss, we're there. Came down to the crib for a second. For a little bit. Learned a lot from Cristobal. I think that really impacted me, changed me from a personal standpoint, professional standpoint, humble standpoint.
Then I some dope coaches, Cristobal, Leary, Lane.
Yeah. And then went back to what was suitable for me, from a family standpoint, career standpoint, and now we've made the transition to LSU. So much is asked, much is given. I'm one of those dudes that, I've been with LK for so long. I believe in the process. Every institution we went to, we flipped. So there's no reason for me to think or believe anything else. And if I did, I wouldn't be there.
That's because you guys put in the work. You know, in preparation,
and
the daily,
we
got the
a
right
good
attitude.
culture, and at the end of the day, it is LSU. But
high expectations.
Yeah, and college football, as much as you want it to be, it's an even playing field nowadays, especially with that money. So it's just it's work. It's a hustle. It's a grind. So it fits me because that's what I like to do. It's and big times, Baton Rouge is a really cool city. It's a mixture of both to me. I like it. It's enough. But it got that little country bayou feel to it. You know what I'm saying? You want to go hunt some alligators. You want to fish.
You careful, alligators might
you can
hunt
still go ride horses in the country. You can do whatever. But
New Orleans right there.
Yeah, it's enough, enough steakhouses, enough seafood spots. You can take your wife on a date. Pop one of football. One of the things that I love. My 8-year-old just finished winning AAU track. So shout out to them. That was amazing. And just something that we didn't have in Oxford. Oxford was great, a great place to live, great community to raise kids. But shout out to Blackburn Express. We went to AAU championships in Jacksonville. And
there you go.
So it's a lot for the kids, man. and I'm just excited. So, but
Yeah,
like you
super
said, it's a lot of work, a lot of expectation.
High expectation.
It's either you win or go home. So I only know one way.
Ain't no question.
I ain't ducking no smoke, no red.
And you said LK, you know he catches a bad rap a lot of times, but you've been with him for a long time now. I know you guys have a real good relationship. What some people might not understand about him and how he really is compared to how he gets portrayed sometimes.
I think he's real, so you respect that. You know what I'm saying? I always tell him that. He the type of person to be like, or I got a good heart, but I got like these type of ways. But he don't put on, he not fake. For me, that's all I need. Just real. And human, and like lay out the expectations and the standards, and then I'm a frontline soldier. I'm on, as long as I know what to do, you tell me we going to do it, you know? And like just a good person. Think a lot of, you know, one day I want to be in a position to be a head coach, but sometimes you don't really know what you're getting sometimes in any type of leadership. And I think consistency is key. You're a boss.
Me know what to expect.
Yeah, you're a boss. I think your employees wouldn't want to be your employees if they didn't know the person they were getting every single day. One way you come in here, you straight. The next day you come in here, you got a little attitude. No one don't want to deal with that.
Inconsistencies.
And so for me, just him being real, him being who he is, I think whatever is portrayed on social media, you know, whatever he does to do that, he does. But very, very impactful when it comes to like being genuine and having like real love on the people side. I think he's ultra talented at coaching and football. That's his niche. That's what God gave him. That speaks for itself. But, you know, his ability to impact people in real life situations, for me, you know, my personal life and a lot of others, I think is what makes him, you know, stand out, and, you know, maybe not a lot of people know, but he's a real one. So
it's rare to find authentic people, especially
yeah,
power,
for sure.
They be so scared to get thrown under the bus that they don't show their real side.
And he be himself, man. Some of the stuff that he, you know, he say whatever he get put on,
you accept the responsibility. You know what I mean? Like you being long life.
If you want to do that, all that, then whatever come with it,
Facts.
you accept.
Trying to hide it, throw it on the shit. That shit, he take it as it goes.
He stand in the paint for whatever come his way. So I mess with it.
That's love. Well, I appreciate you coming through, bro.
Always.
You know.
First episode.
First ever.
Yeah.
First ever. I was thinking about it when I was like, yo, he'd be perfect. Like, we got to make this happen.
And this is my first podcast. And I, you know.
You feel me?
First podcast.
First of many, y'all. He ain't got no IG, so it's fine to hire. You hit me up, I'll connect you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I appreciate it, brother.
Assistant head coach LSU. That means if LK ain't there, he's the head coach. You know what I mean?
I'll take that.
BR. Baton Rouge, that's huge, dog. That's the nine. If you ain't never watched the game there, they said that is the best place to watch a football game. So I'm coming, bro. I hope you got tickets for me.
Go Tigers. You know that.
Baby.
Yeah, you know that. Love.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah, that was